Have you had any kind of dangerous experiences? Because I mean, I did scuba diving and I was diving off the west coast, and actually, what happened with us is there was a conger eel swimming around us, which we didn't see, but the instructor did. And at another stage, we ran out of air because we were all excited. And
Yeah.
when we came up, the tide was bringing us out, and there was nobody else there, and we were panicking. But your man just told us to kind of hold on to the seaweed and then swim. Then when it was kind of opposite, but it was scary. Like, and it just, I mean, what's your experience? Have you got any stories of things that the kind of made you think, am I why am I doing this?
Yes, one in particular. I was in a place called Cocos Island, which is 38 to 42 hours off the coast of Costa Rica. And it's an aggregation area for sharks. And I went there specifically to shoot hammerheads because they have these big schools of hammerhead sharks there. And it's a dive site. If there's any divers listening, you would know this site is called Alcion, and it has a ripping current. Like, you have to hold on to a rope to go down to the bottom and also to come back up. And that particular day, the current was incredibly strong, and it was stronger than my capacity to make it back to the rope. I had my underwater rig, which is this huge rig under my arm like a football, and I was crawling with my other arm along the rocks, and I was using so much air that I got back to the rope. I actually ended up hanging on to a strong Spaniard, actually, because I couldn't make it back by myself. So I get back to the rope with the Spaniard, and I'm on the rope, and all of a sudden my mask is getting sucked to my face, and I could not figure out what was going on. And it was 80 feet down. And maybe I was a little bit narked because I just could not process mentally what was happening and why my mask was doing this weird thing that it never does. And the dive master, thankfully, was on the rope just below me, and he saw what was happening. He realized what was happening, and he just took my regulator out of my mouth and shoved his regulator in my mouth because he realized I had completely run out of air. So here we are at 80 feet. I'm breathing off his tank. And we're sharing his air going up the rope, and we're still about 20 or so feet from the surface, and he's running out of air at this point. So I had to switch to someone else's tank to do the safety stop, which happens at 15 feet. We had to stay there for 3 minutes. So I was breathing off a friend's tank and then made it up to the top. And, I could have died that day. I mean, that was really a true scenario of close to death experience. And I remember being quite shaky the rest of the day and just so grateful that this dive master basically saved my life because he realized what was happening.